forest that learned our names. The forest behind Greyfield School was never supposed to move. It had been there for decades, a dark wall of trees beyond the cracked playground fence. Teachers warned students not to go near it. Parents said animals lived there. Older students whispered worse things. Voices, shadows, children who went missing and were never found. But forests don't move. At least that's what Ethan, Lena, and Mark believed. Until one Monday morning, when the trees were closer than they had been on Friday. Act I, the forest shifts. Ethan noticed it first. He stood near the basketball court, staring past the fence. The rusty metal posts that once stood 10 steps away from the tree line were now only 5. "Lena," he said slowly, "was the forest always that close?" Lena adjusted her backpack and followed his gaze. Her face tightened. "No, there used to be space. Grass, dirt." Mark laughed nervously. "You're imagining it. Trees don't walk." A cold wind blew from the forest, even though the rest of the schoolyard was warm. Leaves rustled, not randomly, together, as if answering. That afternoon, the principal announced something strange. Outdoor activities were canceled until further notice. No explanation. By the end of the week, the forest touched the fence. Branches pressed against metal, bending it inward like fingers gripping a cage. And at night, lights flickered in the classrooms facing the woods. Act 2. The first whisper. On Friday evening, the 3 friends stayed late to work on a project. The school was quiet, too quiet. As they packed their bags, a sound drifted through the open window. A voice. "Ethan." Ethan froze. "Did you hear that?" Lena nodded slowly. "It sounded like you." Mark frowned. "Stop. That's not funny." The voice came again. "Lena." Closer this time, from the forest. The trees beyond the window swayed even though there was no wind. A shape moved between the trunks, tall, thin, wrong. The classroom lights went out. Emergency lights glowed red. And from outside, something knocked on the window. Once, twice, 3 times. Mark backed away. "We're leaving. Now." They ran through the halls, their footsteps echoing too loudly. As they reached the exit, the doors refused to open. The voice returned, now many voices, layered together. "You stayed." Roots burst through the floor tiles. The forest had entered the school. Act 3. The hunt begins. The walls cracked as vines crawled upward, tearing paint and plaster away. Lockers bent and groaned as branches forced their way through. The school was changing, becoming something else. The hallway stretched longer than it should have. Doors led to places that were not classrooms. "Split up," Ethan said, panic rising. "Find another exit." They ran. Lena turned a corner and found herself in the gym. Only it wasn't a gym anymore. Trees grew from the floor, their trunks breaking through polished wood. Leaves blocked the ceiling lights. The basketball hoops hung tangled in vines like dead animals. Something moved above her. She looked up. A figure hung upside down from the branches. It had no face, only bark where skin should be. But when it spoke, it used her mother's voice. "Lena, come home." She screamed and ran. The forest laughed. Act 4. Mark and the memory trees. Mark pushed through a door and stumbled into the library. Rows of bookshelves were half covered in moss. Roots curled around tables. The air smelled wet and old. Words appeared on the tree trunks, carved deep. "We remember you." Mark shook his head. "No, you don't." The trees began to glow softly. Images appeared in the bark. His childhood, moments he had forgotten, a lie he told, a friend he betrayed, promise he broke. The forest leaned closer. "We grow from what you hide," it whispered. The shelves collapsed inward, forming a circle around him. Branches wrapped around his arms. Mark screamed Ethan's name. The floor split open, revealing darkness filled with roots and eyes. The library lights went out. One scream ended. The forest grew thicker. Act V. Lena and the path that lies. Lena ran until her legs burned. She burst through a door marked exit. Fresh air hit her face. She was outside, The school stood behind her, normal, quiet. The forest was far away again. She laughed through tears. I made it. I made it. Footsteps approached behind her. Ethan. She turned, relief flooding her chest. Then she noticed his eyes. They were black, full of leaves. Ethan? She whispered. He smiled too wide. The forest rose behind him, moving fast now, swallowing the school fence. You never leave alone, it said through his mouth. Roots burst from the ground and wrapped around her legs. She fought, screaming, crying. The ground opened beneath her. As she fell, she saw the school vanish behind a wall of trees. The forest closed. Silence followed. Act 6, Ethan and the Heart of the Forest. Ethan stood in what used to be the school courtyard. Now it was the forest center. A massive tree towered above him, its trunk wider than a building. Faces pressed out from its bark. Students, teachers, children from years ago. Mark, Lena, all watching. The forest spoke as one. You saw us grow. You named us fear. You fed us attention. Ethan shook, tears streaming down his face. What do you want? To finish growing. The tree split open, revealing a glowing core, a heart made of roots and memories. You can stop us, the forest said, or replace us. Ethan remembered the rumors, children disappearing, the forest always stopping. For a while, he stepped forward. If I stay, he said, voice breaking, will the school be safe? The forest paused. Yes. Ethan closed his eyes. I'm sorry, he whispered. He stepped into the heart. Light exploded through the trees. The forest screamed. Then, stillness. Act 7, Aftermath. Monday morning, Greyfield School stood unchanged. The forest behind it was gone. Only empty land remained. Teachers said Ethan, Lena, and Mark had transferred. Parents accepted it. Life moved on. But sometimes, during class, students hear leaves rustle where no trees exist. Sometimes, a shadow stands at the edge of the playground, watching, waiting, and deep beneath the ground, roots still grow. Slowly, patiently, learning new names.